With a new decade here, I thought it would be interesting to look back at the most significant weather events of the last decade in Pennsylvania. I won't rank them because that's subjective and I don't want to minimize the impact of any event, whether I include it or not. So I'll just go chronologically, tonight looking at the first half and next week the latter half of the decade known as the 2000s, the O's, the zeros, and the aughts, to name a few. The decade arrived amidst unrealized Y2K fears, and it was also an inauspicious start for weather forecasters, as a poorly predicted snowstorm in late January brought 6 to 10 inches to eastern Pennsylvania when little to none was in the forecast the night before. Nicknamed the Carolina Crusher, this storm dumped 20 inches on Raleigh on its way up the coast. The year ended with another tough forecast as the sharp western edge of a second big snowstorm straddled the Delaware River, dumping 6 inches in Allentown but 2.5 feet just to the east in New Jersey. In 2001, the state's biggest weather story was also in the east. The remnants of Tropical Storm Allison, which earlier had inundated parts of Texas with more than 30 inches of rain, came up the east coast, interacted with a front, and dumped 8 to 10 inches of rain just northwest of Philadelphia on Father's Day. Roads and a bridge were washed out by flooding, which also caused a gas line explosion, and damage exceeded $200 million. Allison's heavy rain in the state was localized, however, and 2001 actually ended up the driest year of the decade statewide on average. Entering 2002, nearly all of Pennsylvania's 67 counties were in a drought watch or warning. And after the driest February on record in the southeastern part of the state, 24 counties went into a drought emergency, bringing mandatory water restrictions. And it wasn't until October that enough rain fell to end the dry spell. The estimated cost to Pennsylvania farmers from the drought was $250 million. 2003 was a busy year for high-impact weather events in the state. In February, the President's Day snowstorm dropped more than a foot in most of the state, with 20 inches from Harrisburg to Philadelphia. That summer brought one of the most active severe weather days of the decade on July 21st, with 5 tornadoes and 100 reports of damaging wind. A tornado in McKean County collapsed the historic Kinzua Viaduct Bridge, which was being restored at the time. Then on September 19th, the remnants of Hurricane Isabel crossed the state with winds above 70 miles per hour, causing $160 million damage and power outages to 1.4 million customers across 45 counties. The tropics were also the top weather story in 2004. In September, the remnants of 3 storms, Francis, Ivan, and Jean, soaked the state. Pittsburgh set its all-time daily rainfall record with 3.6 inches from Francis, only to have that broken a week later with almost 6 inches from Ivan. Here's the monthly rainfall amounts. It was near 10 inches, except in the extreme northwest and southeast. No wonder 2004 ended up on average the wettest year of the decade statewide. We'll pick up the story in 2005 next week. After a short break, Paul Knight has the extended forecast.